Hello and welcome to the Spargur Yarn Crafts channel. My name is Spargur. I am your host. I almost forgot what my name was. That's funny. I'm filming this a little bit later at night than usual. Anyway, it is Thursday. How are you? How has your week been? If you didn't catch it already, there should have been a wonderful Monday Works in Progress video and since I'm filming this beforehand, there may or may not have been a sewing vlog on Wednesday. I'm like 95% positive there was a sewing vlog on Wednesday, but I can't be sure at this time. But today I've got some sewing stuff that I wanted to show you, and by sewing stuff, I mean I wanted to update you on the quilt from last time. So last time I showed you the quilt top I made, and I had made it in like a day. Well, I finally finished quilting it. And I did all of that. I did hand binding. It was so much fun. So you know what? I'm just gonna show you. Let me get this. So here it is. It's quite large. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed doing this. I really loved the quilting and the putting the blocks and the base, like every part of this I just really loved doing. Even the hand binding, like I actually hand bound this binding. And I gotta tell you, it took a while, but I loved it. Actually I've got another one here that I'm gonna show you in a minute where I did the machine binding because I thought it would be faster. And that was a pain in my ass. Excuse my language, but I failed so miserably at machine binding that I would much rather hand bind my quilts from now on. I don't care how long it takes. I would much rather hand bind them. It looks better. Anyway, so I wanted to show you the back. Remember how I mentioned getting top sheets? This is a flannel top sheet that I used for the back. So it's warm, it's soft. I used it's from Walmart. It's the Polyester Polyfill Quilt Batting with the extra loft. So it's a little bit more airy, a little bit thicker, which I found was also a little bit harder to work with. But that's because they didn't have their cotton batting in stock. But I did buy some because the last time I was at Walmart, they did have their cotton batting in stock. So I've got another quilt that I'm ready to start that I'm actually going to use actual cotton batting on. And I'm going to kind of see the difference between quilting with the cotton batting versus quilting with the polyester batting. Because the polyester, because it's so airy and so lofty, I found that sewing the quilt itself was a little bit difficult. But so this is the back. Gorgeous, really soft, a lot of fun. And again, the front. This went together so well. And it's a really nice size. I actually do take naps with this quilt. So like, I'll make my bed in the morning. And by morning, I mean about halfway through my workday. Because halfway through my workday is 10 a.m. So I'll make my bed, and then if I'm going to take a nap, I'll use this instead of untucking or unmaking the bed. So I use this for taking my naps, and I'm very, very pleased with it. All of the ends are I was worried that like one end might be wider than the other because I've done that with even blankets that I've crocheted on accident. But I didn't have that problem with this. Everything matches up really, really well. I still gotta get better at the corners. The corners, I'm still not great at. But that being said, I think I still did a pretty good job. The other thing I realized is that my machine, the plate on my sewing machine, it has a mark for 1/4 of an inch. And I drew that forward, and it lined up with a line on my presser foot, and I was like, okay, that's 1/4 of an inch. And then I was missing some places, and it just didn't sew correctly. So I actually, I measured from the needle out to where 1/4 of an inch was and realized that I was actually sewing at 1/8 of an inch. So I adjusted for my second quilt, but this one has a lot of 1/8 inch seams, which is why I was having trouble. I'm getting dog hair in my mouth, which is why I was having a lot of trouble with missing some of the seams on these blocks and why they were coming apart. It's because my seam allowance was not wide enough. So I adjusted that for my second quilt, which I will show you now once I get this one off my lap. Wow, that's warm. It's also warm in the garage. But this one I made for a coworker. This is just a simple checkerboard quilt. I again used the Polyfill Extra Loft Batting. And you can see that the quilting on the back of this is just a simple checkerboard. So it's going to feel kind of more like a comforter. It's going to be kind of lofty. And again, on this one, I did do the machine quilting. You won't be able to see it on camera. Oh, also, again, this is just another top sheet. Just another top sheet that I bought. Now, if this were... Wow, I've got a lot of extra thread. If this were going to, like, if I was going to try and do some kind of contest or anything, I would not be happy with the outcome with this. Because, again, the batting is very airy, very poofy, and so it doesn't allow for perfectly flat quilting, and there's a lot of puckering in places. But for the purposes that this is going to serve, I am not upset at all by the outcome. However, what I will do in the future is slow down. I will slow down. I was doing this late at night. I just wanted to finish it, so I was doing stitch in the ditch to make my seams, which are just on either side of the seam allowance, or either side of the block. I was doing stitch in the ditch. I just wanted to get it done. So I was pushing and pulling fabric through the machine just to get it done. The lines aren't perfect, but then again, neither is the quilt top, so the quilt top's not perfect either. Some of these don't line up, because I didn't actually realize that I was using a 1/8 seam until about a 1/4 of the way in of making my quilt blocks. So some of these have a 1/8 seam, and some of them have a 1/4 inch seam. And that didn't fit together very well. I did try and press and stretch the fabric to make them line up, but it didn't line up in every spot. Like, there's a spot where those didn't line up great. There's a better example than that, but of course now I'm not going to be able to find it. Because there were some bad ones. Oh, I guess it would be nice if I knew which end was the top, because it's the bottom that I had more of my issues with. Well, I thought. Okay, well, maybe I don't have a good example for you, because if I can't find it, who else is gonna see it? Okay, well, I don't have a good example. Anyway, so this is going for my coworker, Peter. He's also gay, so he likes the rainbows and he likes purple, so, yeah. Now, I'm kind of saving this as like a little housewarming gift, because at some point Delilah's parents are going to move out. I think it's like October they're going to move out, and Peter's been dying to get out of his brother's house. He just doesn't like living with his brother, so Peter's going to move in. So I thought that this would be a cute little housewarming gift for when Peter moves in later this year. So yeah. Now, about the machine binding, I failed so miserably at like the corners. I don't know how well you can see that, but like that is just, it's bad. It's bad. It's all bad. It's really bad. Nope, I'm gonna hand bind from now on. Yeah. I should have just taken the time and said, nope, I want to do this the right way and hand bind it. I was thinking more about the ability to put it through the washer. And I shouldn't have been thinking that way, because this failed so spectacularly miserably. Like, the stitching kept, where I folded it over and tried to sew the seam, or the binding down, the seam kept, or the fabric kept sliding out from under the foot, and so then I was just sewing nothing. About halfway through, I ran out of bobbin thread and didn't realize it, and so, like, I'd gotten to a corner, and it just fell apart, because I didn't have any bobbin thread. So this was a labor of love. I'm very happy that it's done. But I have definitely learned that I need to slow down, and so that's something that I'm going to take into account with the next quilt. And again, I am going to hand bind the rest of my quilts from now on, unless it's something that's just absolutely is going to get pulverized because it goes through the washer a lot. I'm going to hand bind. But if they needed to go through the washer, I'll machine bind, but I don't want to machine bind again until I have a new machine. And everyone is telling me to get a Bernina. Those of you who own a Bernina, did you take out a second mortgage on your home? Oh my God. Those things are... There are Berninas that cost more than my car, and my car is only 4 years old. That's insane. I realize that I don't need any of the capabilities of those machines, but, like, the machine that I would want that can do what I need it to do, but also gives me room to grow, is $3,000. Why? Because nothing sews like a Bernina. So, if I'm going to machine bind anything else, I need a new machine. And it's going to be a while for that. So, hand binding it is. And I'm fine with that. I am fine with hand binding. Okay, so thank you. I will see you again on Friday if you were doing life updates. If not, I will see you again in about 2 weeks. Thank you, and I'll see you again very soon here on the Spargur Yarn Crafts channel. Thanks. Bye.